This is BaseDaKID, the Hardcore Casual, in association with the Undefeated podcast, proudly sponsored by Disturbing Sports London, and I'm delighted to be joined first time on the channel by myself, Chris Kongo. Chris, how are you feeling, man?
Bro, feeling good, feel good, look good, and mentally prepared, man, you know?
Now look, you've been after this fight for what feels like an eternity. It must be close to 2 years now. You've got what you wanted. Like, how excited are you to go in the ring on Sunday and do some damage?
Very excited, you know. Like you said, I've been asking for it for a while. The fight is here now. He pushed himself into the fight, and now there's no turning back. I'm gonna go there and do the business.
What do you see in Florian that you can exploit, and why was this fight like so important for you for so long? Why have you been pushing for this fight for so long?
Well, like from the start, they were looking for opponents when one of these fights got pulled out, and I mentioned it, and they weren't interested, and our names have just been floating around for many years. So now is the time for it to happen, and it's a fight that I know what I can do. I know what I'm capable of, and we know what he's capable of, and we're just gonna see on the night what's gonna happen. Don't wanna say too much.
I hear that. All right, I'm not going to ask you too much about it because, like you said, you want to keep some of that in-house. But he's very aggressive. He's a bit of a swarmer, and he's going to look to sort of jump into range and, you know, throw those overhands, those looping shots. How have you been planning on game planning for that eventuality?
Well, you gotta be smart about it. You gotta look at certain fights and certain fighters that's done and beat fighters probably even better than him previously. You know. You look at the guys like Mike McCollum, all the slip guys, Roy Jones, Floyd, Andre Ward, and they're basically the people that I've been watching, you know, in terms of this fight, and just to replicate something similar.
So, obviously, you've had a couple of setbacks with McKinson and obviously Esserman, but in both of those fights, you was highly competitive. You were, you know, you held your own, never looked out of place. But do you feel as if this fight not only is what you need to put you back into sort of the top, you know, the big time fights, but do you also feel like there's a pressure that if you can't get past this, like, where does the career go next?
No, I think that there's still loads of British fights for me to take if, well, let's say things don't go to plan. There's still loads of British fights out here. Just remember, listen, I come from nothing, so this alone is something for me. You know, this is alone is a win for me. Even though I'm gonna go get the win on Sunday, this is a win for me. And moving on from that, once I beat this guy, sky's the limit. So we can only wait and see what once the result happens on Sunday.
So again, as you just said, this is basically a win for you coming from nothing. So let's talk about that just a little bit before I let you go. Like, you're living your dream at this point in time. Boxing's allowing you to basically do things and maybe experience things that you probably didn't think was possible. How did it change your life, and how did you really sort of get started in it?
Say that again, sorry?
How did it sort of change your life, but how did you sort of get started in it? What was your journey into the realm of boxing?
Well, I started with my two brothers who first got into the game, and obviously it's just been a long journey from there, and the progress hasn't been easy, you know. I've been pro 7 years now. It's only really now that I'm starting to get some limelight on my name. This is probably one of the biggest fights of my career so far, and for me to get here, it took me 7 years to get this. So there alone, the success hasn't come overnight, you know. I've had to work for it, but I've worked very hard for it, and the main thing is I've stayed consistent. Even when days when nothing was going on, I was still working. So that's why I know it's gonna pay off Sunday on the 31st of March.
And have you got a message for either any of the youngsters that might watch this, any of the people sort of coming up similarly to how you did, about just, you know, basically following your dreams, following what it is that you want to do, and, you know, basically using that as a vehicle to get yourself into a better situation?
Therefore, listen, I always say, just keep going, keep pushing. Even when things don't seem like they're going well, you just gotta keep going. Even when things are on a high, you just gotta keep going. When things are on a low, just keep going. The main thing is consistency, consistency and consistency. That's all I can say. And one thing I'll say as well, put God first. When you put God first, everything else falls into place.
And very last one from me. Tell the Undefeated family, tell Florio Marku what's going to happen Sunday night.
Sunday, a win from Chris Kongo by any means necessary.
Chris, thank you very much for your time, and best of luck to you.
Thank you. Oh, bless you.